evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Y'all, I was in Germany. I'm just going to say I had the most amazing time at the Cologne Pride, where I gave not one, not two, but 3 speeches. Y'all know how much I love public speaking. Y'all know my personal dream is to be the keynote speaker at a DNC convention. This is right up there. I did not realize that I was going to give 3 speeches, but I was super excited that I did. And let me tell you, it was a total international event. I met people from Poland, Romania, the Netherlands, Ireland, Tanzania, Uganda, you name it. I met people from all over the world, networked with amazing people who are doing the work of protecting the LGBTQ plus community. And it was affirming. There were over 1.5 million people at their Pride Parade. Indianapolis, we got a little ways to go to catch up with that. But I got to tell you, the experience was an experience of a lifetime. But I'm back now. I'm back. Hold on. I'll be more consistent now. Not much traveling. I only have a couple more trips I got to do for work, but I will be here. So let's get into what's going on in Indiana. Now, your boy, Ty Rakita, is on a roll. I know he's had a few rolls, but he is definitely on a roll. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports Indiana Attorney General Ty Rakita is continuing his fight on culture war issues, this time reproductive health care records and workplace diversity. In a letter he signed onto last month, Rakita opposed a draft federal privacy rule that would block state officials from accessing information on residents' reproductive health care services, including abortions obtained outside the state. Rakita joined 18 other Republican attorney generals who signed on to the June 16th letter opposing the change proposed in April by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The rule change would block state authorities, like the attorney general, from obtaining protected information about reproductive health care services obtained lawfully out of the state for criminal, civil, or administrative investigations or proceedings against the individual or regulated entity. So do y'all understand what's happening here? He opposed this new rule. Ty Rakita and all of these other AGs decided that if you leave your state that does not allow for lawful abortions and you decide to go to another state that does protect women's reproductive health care, they want to be able to get those HIPAA information to possibly prosecute you. Basically, what they are saying is that they don't want you to be able to travel outside of Indiana to receive whatever health care that you need. They are trying, in so many words, I need y'all to connect the dots, and this is not far-fetched because it actually already happened in another state. They are trying to make it illegal for you to leave the state to receive health care. Please understand what is happening in our government right now. The attorney general is trying to make it so that he can get your private medical records in the event he wants to press criminal charges against you. The protected patient information on reproductive health care services would include those related to pregnancy, contraception, fertility, prenatal care, miscarriage management, and abortion. So the reason why they came up with this bill is to piece of a rule change is so that people don't feel intimidated if they decide to go and seek those services somewhere else outside of Indiana. Okay, so please understand these fools is coming for all your business. But he doesn't stop there. Oh, no. The Attorney General also signed on to another letter penned by GOP attorneys generals warning the nation's largest companies, many of which have diversity and equity programs, they can face legal action for using race-based policies. The July 13th letter, Rakita and a coalition of 12 other AGs put Fortune 100 companies on notice that they could be hit with legal action for violating the U.S. Supreme Court's June ruling in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College, which put an end to using race as a basis for admitting students to college. The AGs targeted hiring and contracting too. The letter immediately reminds companies they must refrain from discriminating on the basis of race, whether under the label of diversity, equity, and inclusion or otherwise. Treating people differently because of the color of their skin, even for benign purposes, is unlawful and wrong, says the letter. The letter says the court's decision reinforced the principle that all racial discrimination, no matter the motivation, is insidious and unlawful, which means eliminating all of it. If your company previously resorted to racial preferencing or naked quotas to offset its bigotry, that discrimination path is now definitively closed. Your company must overcome its underlying bias and treat all employees, all applicants, and all contractors equally without regard to race. Now, I want you guys to understand what the problem is with this particular letter as well. We have certification for minority-owned, women-owned businesses so that when contracts are being signed by the government, that they are certified and they have a majority of that minority so that minority-owned businesses can be involved in this economy that we call, right? This whole economy. Well, we already know most people, they have a tendency to either hire or contract with people they already know. And we already know that most of us, for the most part, have a tendency to segregate ourselves with people whom we feel most comfortable with. Honestly, all of my homegirls, all of my best friends are all Black, educated lesbians with advanced degrees. I didn't plan it that way. It just happened that way. But here's the problem. If we have been for decades been intentional about exclusion, then it should be all right now to be intentional about inclusion, because we see the systemic issues that have come from the exclusion of not just Black people, but our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our Native American brothers and sisters. We aren't able to get the same opportunities. One of the things that I recognize is talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And I can't remember where I got that quote. It ain't mine, but you can definitely use it. But that's real talk. So when he targets these companies, which, by the way, I thought Republicans were free enterprise. Let businesses do what they want to do. Leave them be. Don't tax them. Don't do nothing. Let these businesses do what they want to do the way they want to do because they can do it better than government. Isn't that their mantra? Isn't that GOP? Small government, big business? Now they are stepping into the business of telling corporations what they can and cannot do within their corporation to make it a well-balanced corporation. First of all, what he's also missing is no company is going to be successful if you don't have a diversity of thought, a diversity of geographics, and a diversity of ideas. And if you are getting your pool, your talent pool from the same place, and all these people come from the same space and time, you're not going to get what you need to be as successful as you possibly can be. So Tyreek is coming after women and wants to get into all our HIPAA stuff, because, you know, HIPAA just protects your medical records so that they can't be obtained by people who ain't supposed to have it. Remember, you signed a little thing that says, well, who can I send this to if I can't send it to you or something happens to you, right? Permission. Tyreek is saying, no, we want to be able to have at it, because they want to be able to come and attack women. And then they also want to be able to limit access to opportunities to minority-owned businesses and applicants. Can we just say that Tyreek, I don't know, might be a little, fragile? Can we say he's a little fragile? Bruh, what's wrong with competition? Ain't nothing wrong with it. But I don't know who's going to run for attorney general next year. I need somebody that's passed the bar. I never went to law school, so ain't my thing. I need somebody to run against him. He is problematic on multiple levels, multiple levels. We need to get rid of him because he is the chief law enforcement officer for our state, and he's horrible. Okay. All right. So let's end the news on some good news because we Democrats, we like to do positive things. State Representative Carrie Hamilton, a Democrat representing Indianapolis, joined lawmakers across the country Wednesday at a White House discussion on state-level child care policy. Affordable child care strengthens families by freeing up income for needs such as quality food and secure housing, and it strengthens our economy by growing a critical component of our workforce, Hamilton said in a news release. Indiana has struggled to provide affordable and plentiful child care, with Hoosier researchers labeling it as a costly limit to economic advancement. The state was solidly middle of the pack in 2021 data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, with average annual costs of $8,000. That sucked up about 13% of the median household income on childcare. See, our leaders are talking about ways to help people and improve their economic situation. Those other guys are trying to limit your access to opportunities. So who are those guys? All right, let's take a look at who is now running for these statewide offices, right? So right now we got a crowded field of Democrats running for United States Senate. We have Mark Carmichael, Keith Potts, Indianapolis City County Councilor, and there's a young man, I don't have his name off the hand. And of course, the Repub is Jim Banks. You know, the primary season is what it is. You know, I don't endorse in the primary for multiple reasons. But Mark Carmichael, Keith Potts, there's two that are officially announced as Democrats. And for governor, it's real crowded on the Republican side. You got Senator Mike Braun, Father Darrell Dodden, which makes me nervous. Separation of church and state. I get nervous when I hear that. Lieutenant Governor Crouch is in there, and somebody named Jamie Rittenhouser. And of course, there's a couple of libertarians, but you know how that go. I don't mean to be like rude to the libertarians, but I can count, and y'all ain't got enough numbers. So, and our only Democrat that's running right now is Jennifer McCormick. So I don't know who else is going to jump in the race. So if you want to support her, get on board. But that's what it's looking like. And I wanted to share that with you guys so you know who's actually out there looking to represent you from a statewide level. And you see what's happening all over the country. They're trying to take your rights away. They want to limit your access to voting. They want to limit your access to health care. And reproductive health care. They want to limit educating our kids. Did y'all see that Florida basically said they wanted to teach the good side of slavery? I know. I was like, huh? What? But these are the things that are happening. To all the idiots out there was absolutely no good side of slavery. Owning another human, limiting their access to just being free. There's nothing good about that. Stop it. But that's what they're doing. So, guys, let's get motivated. Let's get activated. Let's join the movement and help these Democrats up and down the state. The municipal races are a place to start because that's how we build our bench. And you know, I love my municipal races because all politics are local. All right, it's time now for my ad. You know my sponsor, Bohm's Unique Boutique. Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com. All right. Thank you, Bohm's Unique, for being my sponsor. I really, really appreciate that. But guys, look, I know you need digital content. I know you want to have your message out there, but you may not have a supersized budget. But you still need to have your message out there. Reach out to me, Black Pearl IT Solutions, Black Pearl Studios, and I can create affordable content for you. I can live stream anything you need. I have podcast production, everything you need in one-stop shop because I'm here to help Democrats win elections. You don't have to worry about who you're giving your money to. You know I'm blue through and through. So scan the QR code and reach out to me if there's something I can help you with because I want to help elect Democrats. All right. Now, it's time for my guests. Come on now. First of all, I think y'all need to understand, I get a little excited when my show is extra melanated. Don't get mad at me. Don't hate on me because I I'm just saying. But I got two people running for two different types of roles tonight, and I'm really excited about it because my first guest, he's running in Hamilton County. I need y'all to understand, Hamilton County ain't as red as it used to be. It's turning more and more purple every day. We already have 2 Democrats on the city council in Fishers. 2. We want to add a third. Y'all give it up for my first guest, all the way from Fishers, Indiana, Howard Stevenson. Howard, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I love
to
it.
be here.
And I think y'all know I have a penchant for clerks. I have a penchant. There's one pretty cute city clerk that I'm kind of partial to. So she kind of hooked me up on the clerk circuit. And so now I'm super excited at municipal clerks. Had a chance to briefly chat with her when I was up in Allen County last month. But now we get a full 45 minutes of good conversation with Miss Porsche Williams, who is running for Fort Wayne City Clerk. Miss Porsche, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Miss Dana. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad y'all here. First of all, tell me how y'all summer been so far, because I've been out of the state and out of the city. What's going on in y'all's lives? We're going to let the ladies start first.
Dana, I don't even have words for summer. Summer has been campaigning.
I love
summer
it.
has been politicking. Haven't really had a chance to go anywhere, but I've gotten to meet a lot of great people, a lot of events, a lot of festivals, a lot of things going on. So I've met a lot of people over the summer.
I love it. Howard, how's your summer going?
I'll echo the same sentiments of Dana. It's been filled with campaigning. I've gone to a lot of events, festivals. We had a Juneteenth event here in Fishers that was hosted by our Future Black Leaders Club out of the high schools, Fishers High School and HSC High School, and just hitting the ground running, talking to people, letting them know about my campaign. I did take 1 week off for a vacation. I think it was the first or second week of June after my wife finished her teaching year, and we took a trip with our sons down south, and we just had a great time. But I told her after we get back, honey,
we got to get to work.
Yeah, got to get to work with the campaign.
I love it.
So the summer's going great.
I love it. All right. So, Miss Porsche, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
My name is Porsche Williams. I come from right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I have 2 boys, actually one who lives in Indianapolis now, just graduated from Marion University.
All right,
Very
graduates.
excited about that. Yes. I have one who's going to be a senior this year. So he's everywhere with mom. He's going to learn about campaigning, whether he likes it or not.
Okay, I love that.
Being voluntold right now. So it's been really fun. I've been in local government for 16 years. Well, I was in local government for 16 years, honestly. Just to give you a little background, I don't know if you know, Dana, Trustee Richard Stevenson, who was Howard's father. I worked at Wayne Township with him as director of intake and investigation.
Oh, look at the legacy.
Yes. So when I saw Howard was running, I had to send him a quick note. I said, okay, I see it in you.
I love it.
Yes. So I ran for Fort Wayne Township because I had hit the limit on what I could do within government in that arena. I said, let me go for it. I know the job. I did not realize at the time all of the work behind the scenes that it takes to run for an office.
Yeah.
So now I'm running for city clerk.
Yeah, I love it. And so, government work, it's a thankless work. I worked in both state government and city government in the IT department, and I knew that I could double my salary out in the field. What keeps you in this work? Because it's a thankless job.
Honestly, Dana, my original major was transportation and logistics.
Oh.
And it's great for some. Some, they like that. They like the transportation industry. For me, I'm a people person.
Come on now.
I love to help. I love to serve. So when you say the pay, and that just does something to my heart, because I had my pay almost cut in half when I went to work at the township. Ooh. But it was 100% more gratifying for me.
I can dig that, because you know what? I tell people all the time, I have a job that pays my mortgage and one that pays my heart.
Yes,
now,
exactly.
Tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Thanks, Dana. And to
Legacy.
segue, yeah, legacy. And I'll tell you before I introduce myself, Porsche is at the top of my list because of her affection and hard work that she did for my dad at the Wayne Township Trustee's office in Fort Wayne.
Give her her flowers.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be on this panel with her.
Yeah.
I seriously and jokingly say my two favorite cities are Fort Wayne and Fishers, Indiana.
I'm feeling some kind of way right now, Howard. I'm feeling some kind of way. No,
I'm a lifelong Hoosier. I've lived in Indiana all of my life, and I was born and raised in Fort Wayne. And my dad was my hero above anyone to see his servant leadership that he had, not when he was just a historic 4-term elected township trustee, but prior to that, working civically and grassroots in the community, serving and helping everybody. He was my ultimate example. So I recall when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I did play varsity basketball. I guess that's my claim of fame when I was in high school. But I remember my summers, I would want to go out and practice on my game like all of my friends. My dad would sit me down and watch C-SPAN.
Okay.
Now tell me what 12 or 13-year-old wants to watch C-SPAN during their summer break. And he would say, son, let's look at this congressional hearing and let's listen to these various congresspersons and which side of the issue did you agree with and for what reason? And how would you respond to the opposing argument? And initially as a 12 or 13-year-old, I didn't like that. I wasn't interested in that. But honestly, it grew on me and it became like a fine wine. And I didn't initially think I was going to go into politics, but I knew I wanted to go to law school.
Okay.
So I went to Indiana University and met my wife the first week of college at IU. And we've been married 34 years now. And after IU Bloomington undergrad, I came to Indianapolis for law school, Indiana University, Robert H. McKinney School of Law. And fast forward, now I'm an adjunct law professor at that law school as well.
Beautiful.
But I've been in the Fisher/Indianapolis area since 1990, so it's been 33 years, and I've lived in Fishers for 23 of those years now. And I'm in private practice. So I heard you talking with Porsche about working in public government.
Mm-hmm.
And I initially, after I graduated from law school, I clerked on the Indiana Supreme Court, becoming the first African-American in 1993 to serve a term on the Indiana Supreme Court.
Wow.
I wish we would have had someone prior to that because there were some well-qualified, skilled attorneys who could have had that same opportunity, but they didn't have access like I did.
Come on.
And I could have quickly and easily transitioned that clerkship from the Indiana Supreme Court to go work in one of the biggest, largest law firms in our state or even our country. But I was married in law school, still am. And my oldest son, when I was concluding my law school career and my education career, he was commencing his.
Okay.
So he turned 5 and he was becoming a kindergartner and I was becoming a lawyer. And my middle son was born the last week of law school graduation. So I was taking the bar exam that summer with a 5-year-old and a 2 or 3 month old. And by the grace of God, I passed it. However, I went initially intentionally into state government because I wanted to work a job that would allow me to see my kids.
Right.
And coach their youth basketball teams. And I didn't want to chase becoming a partner 7 or 8 years. And then my sons look and say, well, Dad, thanks for the money, but we never saw you.
Yeah.
So I worked at the state attorney general's office. You mentioned Todd Rokita, and it's just so sad to see where we are now with that office. But I worked for Jeffrey Modisette, Democrat, and then he left and I worked for Karen Freeman Wilson.
Who doesn't love Karen Freeman Wilson?
Yes. And I will tell you, Dana, when we started our law firm 18 years ago, I went to Karen and said, I want you to be a part of our dream team. I have a minority certified law firm, and we've worked on some of the biggest projects in the city and the state. But she said, I'm going back to my hometown, and I think I want to become mayor. And I was excited about that, but I was selfishly wanting her to become a part of my law firm.
Come on now.
But fast forward, she did exactly what she should have done. And she made history and did a great job for the city of Gary. But I've been in private practice for 30 years. I'm sorry, practicing law for 30 years and been in private practice for 18 years. Formerly served on the school board here in Fisher 7 years ago. And I just think it's time for us to have an African-American serving on the city council who's going to serve and represent.
Absolutely. Both of you talked about your children, which I'm really excited about because, especially Mom, we feel like as women, we can't do all these things and be parents. Porsche, talk about how you said you voluntold your senior. Now he's 16, 17, 18, so he can drive and do some other stuff. But talk about the importance of including your children in this process with you, because Howard gave a great story of the C-SPAN, but talk about the importance of being on the other side of that.
So I'm going to refer to Howard's father also, Trustee Richard Stevenson. When I started at Township, we were involved in Three Rivers parades and things like that. And I believe it's on my Facebook page. I guarantee it's on my Facebook page. When my children were younger, Trustee Stevenson was running down the street and had one of my sons on his shoulders during the Three Rivers Festival. He followed at his toes. Every move he made, he loved to be right there with him.
I love it.
So it didn't start off as something that they were voluntold. And really, he's not voluntold at this point. He knows that he wants to help Mom.
Right.
But it started off just them being around. Them seeing what we did, them seeing the service, volunteering for different things. One of my sons comes home every year now and he volunteers in Fort Wayne for the Fort Wayne Rescue Mission, giving food during Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
So it's just, I was a single mother. So being a single mother, I didn't want to leave my children at home. So if I went, they had to go.
That's what's up.
And they got to see a lot of different things that way. So it was very beneficial for them.
That's what's up. You
It
raising
wasn't easy. I mean, I can't by any means say it was easy.
No.
It was hard, but yeah, it was, they went and they enjoy it now. So my son will call me about things on CNN and C-SPAN. And Mom, did you see?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, good. I'm proud of you.
Well, but see, that's what we need to do. If we raise them in the way they go, they'll never waver. Whatever the quote is, y'all know the quote. I don't know the quote.
Yeah, you got it.
But it's like that's what we have to do. And I think a lot of times in our community, especially, we see all of the negatives that are happening, and we don't think we can have an impact on that change. But if you guys are out there doing it and they see it, then they're like, wait a minute now, I know something can happen. So how are your kids liking it, Howard?
They are loving it, and I agree with what Porsche said. I believe if kids can't choose what they have not been exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see their mom or they see their dad or they see my dad, Trustee Stevenson, serving in the community, helping people, they can choose that because they've been exposed to it. I'm proud of my three sons. All three of them are college graduates. They are now working in their respective careers. And I will say this, however, all three of my sons interned at my law firm during their time in high school because I wanted to expose them to law, and I wanted one of them to at least become a lawyer. None of them have become lawyers. They've chose their passionate areas. However, last week, my youngest son, who is wrapping up his master's degree, he just accepted a job as a high school English teacher at Crispus Attucks High School.
Come on, that's my daddy's high school, okay?
Oh, that is awesome. And I celebrate that, and I know the history behind Crispus Attucks. While I was trying to get my three sons, one of them to become a lawyer, they were also exposed to my wife, who's been a 30-year public school teacher, and my youngest son is following in the footsteps of his mom. So I am extremely honored and proud that he's doing that, and proud of both my oldest son and my middle son. They're doing excellent things in their careers.
I love it. I love it. Indiana's own Dana Black, Turn Left. We are talking today to candidate Howard Stevenson for Fisher City County Council at Large and candidate Porsche Williams running for Fort Wayne City Clerk. Guys, if you like what they're talking about, because we're about to get into the nitty gritty now. If you like what they're talking about, their donate links are right there. Their Act Blue donate links are right there. If you can donate $5, 10, 15, does not matter. Every dollar, every penny helps these campaigns because it costs. You got to, if nothing else, they got to put gas in their car just to get from here to there to go knock doors. So please, if you have a couple of dollars, just click on their donate link. Yes, it is an Act Blue donate link. Click on that link and donate to these candidates. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. I know that you said, Ms. Porsche, that you like city government or you like government, but why? Why are you running for the clerk of Fort Wayne?
I'm running for the clerk of Fort Wayne. I want to be a clerk that's actually in the community. There's so many initiatives that can be started between guns, between education. It's an extension of city council. So I would like to be that extension. There's a law of the land and also a law of love.
Come on.
And I learned previously through, I also worked with Danita Washington, Trustee Austin Knotts, the law of love. And I want to be able to serve with the law of love and know that the community knows what's going on within the clerk's office, giving them as much information as they can so that they can be involved and know what their vote actually means.
I love it. And I kind of have a penchant for clerks because, there's this cute little honey that I holler at on a regular basis. The clerk is like the clerk of the council, right? Talk about, she talks about sometimes how she likes to be able to influence. She doesn't get to vote on ordinances, but she likes to have those conversations. What are your relationships like with those counselors? Because honestly, when I look at it, it's the mayor running for citywide office, the city clerk, and then the at-large counselors. You're literally the second person. What are your relationships like with the existing counselors or anybody that's running for office now?
So one of my uncle, he's retiring, been on council for 25 years,
Wow.
longest serving person
Y'all
right
are
now.
legacy Black people.
I'm trying to tell you, Councilman Glenn Hines is my uncle, and he's been on there for years. So before I knew council, I knew council.
Okay.
Like we talk about just family generation, legacy, just like you say. So I've been watching it for a long time. Of course, when you're younger, you don't understand it. And then you start to grow up and you say, ooh, okay, these are some big topics. They just discussed, bringing back collective bargaining. And you can see the emotion on both sides.
But you talk about collective bargaining for city workers?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. Collective bargaining for city workers. So you can see the emotion on both sides. You can see the people in the audience. It's hard to watch sometimes without getting emotional, and you have to do it. Honestly, someone has to do it. And I think it'll just be I'm there for the community. Let's put it like that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I want to be of service.
And I gotta ask, what is your relationship like with Mayor Henry?
I just went to lunch with him last week.
That's what's up. Actually,
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie. He is like the most accessible of he's more accessible than my mayor. Like,
Yes, yes.
And the first lady, I kind of be digging on her. I like her so much. She's such a sweet lady.
Miss Cindy, she is. Miss Cindy's very, very sweet. I ask the mayor about Miss Cindy all the time. So yes, definitely, Mayor Henry. He's a very nice guy. Every time I call him, he calls me right back.
I love it. Because I ask those questions because, those relationships are so important in getting the work done. I mean, obviously you're running the office, obviously you'll have a staff, but those relationships are so important. I think it's important to know that those relationships that you have are working relationships. Plus, you already know how council works. Because
then I want to be able to have collaborations with the mayor's office.
Okay.
We can bring back having Easter egg hunts, the city clerk in the mayor's office. We can bring back having a fun day for kids. We can bring tours back to the city council so that for education purposes for schools, so that they really know what's going on. So if we want to teach them, we need to start young.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Stevenson, Mr. Attorney at Law. No matter what happens in November, can I get you to run for AG? Wait a minute. We'll talk about that later. Tell the people why you are running to be a city councilor in Fishers.
That is great. Thanks for the question. I'm running because I want to make Fishers even better for everyone. I've lived in Fishers for 23 years with my family, and this has been home for us. So I really love Fishers, but just like a relationship, my wife and I have been married 34 years, and we have a great, healthy relationship, but we can always make it better. And I think we can make Fishers better. And I think I bring a unique perspective, having lived in Fishers for 23 years. And Porsche talked about collaboration. I've been collaborating in Fishers for 23 years with people that I disagree with on certain issues, because I really believe if two people agree on everything all of the time, that means one of them is not thinking and they're dispensable. But what can we talk about? What can we agree upon? And perhaps they can learn from me and I can learn from them. I've been a bridge builder during these 23 years when I was on the school board here in Fishers 7 years ago. And I'd like to share this too. I'm currently the president of the Fishers Plan Commission, and I'm vice president of the Fishers Board of Zoning Appeals. Now, the Plan Commission has 11 members, 9 Republicans and 2 Democrats. And I have been elected president the last few years unanimously by a supermajority Republican Plan Commission. And 3 of those 9 Plan Commission members also sit on the city council. So I have 3 city council members on my Plan Commission who were part of the unanimous group that made me their president, because they know, Howard, one, I know the area of land use and zoning because I teach that as an adjunct law professor at the law school here, and that's a core part of my law practice. So I have the skill sets, and also I have the negotiating and mediating skills to allow people to come together even when they may disagree on some issues. I think those skill sets will be very beneficial to me serving on the city council. So I want to come and make it better for everyone. And one last thing I want to share as relates to me running. I'm running because I want to have access and opportunity for everyone.
Come on.
Back in January or so, the Indianapolis Star ran an article about the numerous construction projects that are going on in Fishers in the next 3 or 4 years. And those construction projects totaled in excess of $1.6 billion with a B. So I was curious about those projects. I'm not opposed to them. However, as a lawyer, I'm taught to ask questions in court that I already know the answer to. So I asked the city, of that $1.6 billion of projects in the next 3 or 4 years, how many women-owned or minority-owned companies are part of those projects as construction companies, as engineers, as architects,
transportation, cleanup,
cleanup, maintenance, landscaping, you name it.
Surveying.
And the answer was 0.
Wow.
And I believe it's because, Dana, in your introduction, you said people hire and contract with people that they already have a relationship with, that they already know. Fishers has never had an African American on the city council. We don't have anyone at the table when it comes to voting on these projects and making a voice to insist that we have opportunity for everybody in these projects. And that's why I'm running, because I want to have a voice for everyone and bring the skill sets that I have through my experience to the city council.
Wow, and that is really problematic. I'm not really sure what the demographic makeup is of Fishers at this point, but I do know that my partner's sister lives in Fishers. So, and I campaigned in Fishers, and I know that there is a significant minority population, and not necessarily always black, but it's definitely some minorities in there, and it's troublesome and problematic. I remember going to an event where the mayor of Fishers was, it was like a community conversation, and how do we improve municipalities? And one of the things that he heard that he kept saying were their complaints were they didn't have a good diversity of restaurants. They didn't have a good diversity of restaurants. And in my little, I don't know as much as y'all know, well, if why would you want these people to why would you want people to come and cook for you, but you don't actually invite them into the community? You know, and I never understood the philosophy of I need diversity in my restaurants, but I don't want my neighbor to be diverse, and nor do I want to extend that opportunity for people to benefit from $1.6 billion. You know, but even with that, you know, you'll be one voice. And I know, like Jocelyn Ver, that's my girl, Monisha, my girl. How will you be able to even convince, if we're still in the minority, to even consider some of these organizations? Because sometimes, bro, you know how it is. You know. You know, it's exasperating sometimes. Like,
yeah, you get tired sometimes. I will say, so we lived here 23 years, Dana, and we've seen it transition from a town to a city. When we first moved to Fishers, there were 7,000 students in the school district. Now there are over 22,000 students, and HSC Schools is the third largest school district, only behind Indianapolis Public Schools and Fort Wayne Community Schools. So I've seen the growth, and I've seen the growth in diversity of thought and opinion as well. And I'll give one example. You asked the question, how would just adding me to the council make a difference? Mm-hmm. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, we had a vote on our Fishers Plan Commission, and the petitioner was this organization called Hand Incorporated. It's a not-for-profit that builds affordable housing in Fishers, and I learned as the president of the Fishers Plan Commission that only 15% of the workers in Fishers actually live in Fishers. So we have 85% of our workers who are commuting in to work. And we need to change that. My wife has also often told me, she said, honey, if we weren't married, I don't think I could afford a house in Fishers as a public school teacher.
Not by herself.
Wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
So we had a vote on my Fishers Plan Commission for this housing project that was going to allow some of the employees who currently live in Fishers to work in Fishers to also live in Fishers. Yeah. Well, that vote went before my Fishers Plan Commission, and I was the only vote for yes. I believe sometimes leaders have to lead even when they are leading by themselves. And I was discouraged about that. And I stood out like a sore thumb. But a few weeks later, that same petition went to the city council for approval, and I really thought it wasn't going to pass. But Jocelyn Ver and the other Democrat, Crystal Newman
What did I say, Monisha? Yeah, Crystal Newman. Yeah.
Crystal Newman and Jocelyn Ver are the only two Democrats. However, they were able to convince a few of their colleagues on the Republican side, and the vote passed 5-4.
Wow.
However, I was vindicated as the only one that voted for that at the Fishers Plan Commission. And I believe I can bring those same skills to the city council, even if it's an additional person of me joining as a Democrat. We do have 5 Democrat district candidates that are running as well.
Yes.
I think we have a great opportunity for others to join the city council.
And I've reached out to every one of them. You know, but okay, so I love that because it talks about you're talking about your values, right? One of the things that I hear regularly from every county, every municipality is housing and more affordable housing. Unfortunately, when people hear the word affordable housing, they think government assisted housing. And I think people get it all twisted. But affordable housing is what's affordable to you in your economic range. Talk about, and I know, Porsche, you talk about you're going to have those relationships. So I'm going to start with you. What is the housing issue looking like in Fort Wayne? And how do you think, as the clerk, you will be able to help facilitate some of the need for more affordable housing?
Housing here, it's getting better. COVID took a hit on everyone. to be truly honest with you. We had landlords who didn't want to take housing authority anymore. We've had apartment complexes who didn't want to take housing because they could get so much more by just having self-pay. Because there was a housing shortage. So instead of charging $800, I can charge $1,000, $1,200 for rent. And it's been a challenge. Even working with Danita Washington, who is the trustee of Adams Township, and she also works at Housing Authority. Working with Sharon Tucker, she works with the 6th District here in Fort Wayne. She's the council person, and that's where a lot of our Housing Authority individuals are residing. She's running the Vincent Village, which is a house that tries to, for homeless people, or those who were homeless, excuse me, and they house individuals. They put them in their house and they have a program where it starts to slowly, they start with 0 rent. They start with 20%, 30%. Don't take my numbers.
Sure.
It's Bible, but it starts to grow so that you start to learn the responsibility of paying rent and how you need to pay it. And then they save a portion, things like that. So housing is a challenge here, and hopefully we can put our heads together and make some changes with it. It starts with, we do have some more apartments being built, but it's hard to tell what the landlords are going to do with them, honestly.
Yeah.
So we have to get them built. Once we get them built and there's enough housing for everyone, then we'll have enough leverage to say, okay, well, maybe you'll go down in your rent because they're going to move over there instead of here. So hopefully it'll start to balance back out compared to where we've been.
Yep. Howard, I mean, my goodness, we just talked about, you just mentioned people who work in Fishers can't live in Fishers. Now, those of us in Indianapolis, we got another complaint about Hamilton County. I mean, y'all be taking y'all little cute dollars back up there, and my roads are looking like whatever. Y'all bring y'all big old SUVs down here, messing up my roads. But that's another complaint for another day. Talk about how you, as a council member, will want to address the housing shortage, the affordable housing shortage.
Yeah, so I think you hit it right on the head, Dana. When people hear affordable housing, they think of low income subsidy housing, and that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to our school teachers, our firemen, police officers, some veterans can't afford to live in Fishers, and they may work in Fishers. So if there's something that we can come alongside of them to help them out through the city, through ordinances, to give incentives for housing, that's what I want to do as a city council person. And we do now know that in Fishers, we've had rapid growth in the 23 years that I've been here, and we have growing pains that go along with that. So Fishers has about 7% of undeveloped land left.
Oh, that's not a lot.
So we have to be very smart, very equitable in how we look at economic development, and housing is a part of that. And that's a skill set that I have. Once again, I teach this at the law school. It's a part of my practice and also in the Plan Commission. So looking at our comprehensive plan, our 2040 Fishers Comprehensive Plan, and how can we utilize that to address this issue? So I want to bring those type of
I love it.
too.
I love it. Okay. I asked the housing question because that's the big thing. I'm not even going to dive into TIFs today. We're going to leave a TIF conversation alone because that one's interesting. That's one of those conversations where Democrats are on both sides of that issue. So I like talking about it. But anyway, okay. Indiana's own Dana Black turned left, talking to Howard Stevenson, running for city councilor at large for Fishers, and Porsche Williams, who is running for city clerk of Fort Wayne. When you were elected, election night is over. You've won. What is the first piece of legislation you want to work on? Or what's the first order of business? Because obviously, Porsche, you're not working on legislation. And then include the other reasons other items that you want to address, maybe at least 2 more. So what is the first thing you want to do? And then give me 2 more things that you want to work on after you're elected. And I'm gonna let Howard go first this time.
Okay. Thank you. I think the first thing I want to do is learn about all aspects of city government, that the city council has a supervisory umbrella of responsibility for. So first and foremost, I want to look at the budget. The budget is, as we know, the city council is the legislative branch for cities, and they are the final arbiter and approval entity for all budgets, and they determine how funds are allocated and who they are dispersed to. And I want to look at that. You know, as a Democrat, I'm a fiscal responsible person.
Most of
and
us
the
are.
other side does not have a monopoly on that. So I have a track record. One, when I was on the school board in Fishers 7 years ago, most people don't know this, but at least in Fishers, the school board's budget is larger than the budget for the city of Fishers. And also the school board.
Wait. You can't drop
Yes.
no nugget like that and then just keep on going.
Yes.
What are you
imagine that?
telling me? What are you telling me right now?
So I'm telling you that the school district's budget is larger than the city of Fishers government budget that we have, and they employ more employees than the city of Fishers. And as a school board member, I oversaw the budget that the school district had, and we oversaw all of the employees that we have. So I am fiscally responsible in that area. I will bring that experience to the city council. And then also, I'm also on the board of the Eskenazi Health Center board here in Indianapolis.
Are you going to have enough time to be a city councilor?
Yes, my wife says that too. I'm going to quote my dad, since Porsche has been talking about him, and you know he's dear to my heart. My dad used to always say, Dana, if you want something done, give it to someone who's already busy. He said, son, because if you have someone who has a lot of free time on their hand, it may be a reason why they have a lot of free time on their hand.
Say it again.
Because someone who's busy is going to be efficient with their time management. And all of the boards that I've been a part of, I've been passionate about. So health disparities in our community. So I serve on that board, and we oversee the budget for all of the health centers in Indianapolis for the Eskenazi Health Center Board. And then also my own small business that I've had for 18 years, and we've hired and employed 35 attorneys during that tenure. And I've had to run my budget from a fiscal responsible perspective. And all of that, I'm going to bring that mindset to the city council. How can we look at what we do and the services that we provide in an effective, efficient way that it benefits not just a small, select group of people, but everyone who's paying taxpayer money in Fishers. So that's the first thing I want to look at.
Okay. And Ms. Porsche, what's the first thing you want to do because you're essentially the department head, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what you want to do in that office?
First thing I want to do, when you come into our city council meetings, it's not modernized. Still handwriting, yes, no, nay.
What?
I want to, yeah, I want to get that modernized, obviously. We have some really nice TV things, some really nice TV screens and things like that. When you come in, you should be able to see the agendas listed up there. You should be able to see them in different languages if you need to, online. We don't have a social media. I mean, there's a website that hasn't been updated, but social media, if you want to reach people, you have to go to where people are. So if I have to go to Twitter, we'll have a Twitter page, Facebook, Instagram, because if that's what we're trying to grab people coming in. Like I said, we want to do different languages. Fort Wayne City Clerk is also over parking control here.
Yes.
One thing that I've heard people keep saying, Porsche, we need the app. We need the app so we can just log in. We can add money from the app. They said they're tired of these meters.
Okay. Well, and they add the app to the meter. Like, I mean, just don't do like my Republican mayor did and sell all our meters. Don't do that.
Did he sell all?
He sold up. Howard, do you remember that?
Yes, I sure do.
I'm like,
and I will say,
I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say they sold all the damn meters, not thinking about long-term residual income forever. They just sold it. Here, and then they jacked up the prices, and they was like, "Nothing we can do. We sold it. We knew that's what was going." Man, anyway, they sold us out. Anyway, back to you, Porsche.
So I'll have to look at the contracts for the meters because there are contracts for the meters that we have right now and things like that. So I'll have to start looking at contracts. And like I said, I want to be in the community.
That's it.
I really want to start doing some initiatives within the community so that people know what the city clerk's office does so that we can involve ourselves. And the people always go to the mayor and say, we want you to work on education. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with the mayor's office, of course, has nothing to do with our portion, but we can include ourselves in that. We can start some initiatives that involve education.
I love it. And when we are done, you know Nicole, right?
I haven't met her, but yes.
Okay, then
because I messed up last time. Remember, I said,
you gave me the wrong.
I did.
Girlfriend. Don't be doing that. Listen, gay or straight, a black woman will go off. Gay or straight.
I said hi.
That was the wrong light-skinned lady. Wrong one. Anyway,
yes.
It was adorable though. But when this is all said and done, I'll make sure she got a Bonnet Fellow and she's over at Harvard studying for 3 weeks right now. So when she comes back, I'll make sure I do an introduction because she does some of the stuff that you're talking about. Ain't no need to reinvent the wheel. Just let me make that connection as far as I got the relationship. Me and you, cool. Why not?
Awesome. Yes, please do.
I love it, guys. I tell you what, that hour goes by so fast, and I want to keep talking for just a little while longer. So Portia, I don't know why I keep saying Portia. There is no A on the end of your name. Please forgive me.
It's okay.
Porsche, it's not easy stepping into a role and you've never said incumbent. That's why incumbents typically win.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that has you the most nervous about taking over this new job, this new role, this new, everybody has their own expectations of what it should be, but what makes you the most nervous?
Anytime I go into something new, I'm always a little nervous. But I also try to go in with a good team. There's a person who I go in with who is she just told me earlier, trying to think of the word for it. She keeps everything in order.
Okay.
This goes here, this goes there. This is how this is going to go.
Yep. She's an organizer.
She's an organizer. Yes. I also go in with the person who is, there's an organizer. I was laughing this afternoon because I was talking to him and I said, yep, that's her personality. I have the one who gets, I don't want to say slightly emotional when people are, when she feels like they're not supporting me.
Got it.
I said, it's okay, babe. I just need you to take it in and then that's what we build from that. I have the person who is an idealist. So I put all of those pieces together. My major was human resources, business management.
Now you dropped that on us.
Yes. My major is business management, human resources from Fort Wayne, Indiana, right here at Indiana Tech.
Okay.
So with that being said, I like piecing groups together who work very, very well.
I think you just answered the question of every question I had about your leadership style. Because now you already answered. You recognize that you are not the end all be all, but you must surround yourself with the best people, and that's what an administrator is, right?
Yeah.
Knowing
surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, and you pretty much. Okay, I'm done. No, I'm done with you. All right, Howard. I'm teasing you. What is the thing that you are most nervous about in joining the city council?
Most nervous thing. Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm nervous about anything.
Okay.
I'm excited to be a part of it. Nervous just to get started. I would say that. You mentioned the incumbent piece, and can I piggyback on that? There are 3 incumbents, obviously, for my at-large seat. And we have 5 people who are running, 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. Jocelyn Vare and I are running together. We're not running against each other. I want both of us to make it on the city council and her to be maintained and retained on the city council. But my concern is that a lot of people don't know who's on the city council. And then when it's time to vote, we have over 100,000 people who live in Fishers now, but we have over 40 polling sites. And on election day, people don't know. They're going to go in and see 5 people, and some may arbitrarily, randomly select somebody. And I'm hoping to get my message out to let people know, hey, Howard is here to serve everyone. He has a track record of being successful and collaborating with other people. So you'll get 3 votes for at-large seats on the council, and make sure Howard is one of your votes. And I'll leave you with this, Dana. I don't think I know everything. I try to surround myself with people who know things that I don't know. So I remember about 10 years ago, I was getting prepared for a closing argument in one of my jury trials. And I shared my closing argument in advance with my wife. And I was using this example of a football. And I was making an argument that the other side fumbled the evidence. And I used each letter of the word fumble.
Come on.
And I said, and honey, at the end, I'm going to just drop the ball sensationally and just like dropping the mic. And she said, don't do that. I got indignant. I said, hey, I went to law school. I passed the bar. You didn't. Why are you telling me how to do a closing argument? She said, okay, you can do it. But if you drop the ball, you're going to lose control of that. And the ball may bounce and hit a juror member in the eye, or it may roll under the judge's desk. Don't do that. Just juggle it. And I said, man, that's a great suggestion. So I implemented that. We won that case. I don't know if it was just particularly because of that.
It was.
But yeah, so I'm going to tell my wife that Dana said it was because of that. But I think that's indicative of how I look at everything, even in our household and then also on the city council. I'm not going to have all the answers, but I think I have experience and I know who to listen to and what to incorporate into what I'm trying to do so we all can be the beneficiary of what we're doing.
And
so
I got to drop this in here. One of my favorite councilwomen from Anderson, Rebecca Crooms, just mentioned as she's watching the show tonight, if you vote for straight party tickets, you're not going to get your at-large candidates. So you got to make sure you vote for your at-large people. Thank you, Councilwoman Crooms. And if y'all have never met Councilwoman Crooms, y'all are missing out on a whole lot in life, and I'm not playing. I'm telling you, she's taught me a lot of lessons. Please trust, know, and believe that. All right, guys, Ms. Porsche, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me www.porschejwilliams.com. There coincidentally is actually a PorscheWilliams.com in California who's running for an office too. So it's PorscheJWilliams.com. I am on Facebook, Porsche Williams for City Clerk. I am on Twitter. I am on Instagram, Porsche Williams. You can find me there. You can find me on @Blue.
I love it.
Collecting donations.
The link is right there. Click that link.
It's run. So I am definitely on @Blue.
And do you have any events coming up?
Do I have any events coming up? I do actually. When I get done with this evening, I have to go see Sean Johnson. I'm at his studio this evening too.
Okay.
So I'm doing that, and then this weekend I am door knocking. I think I'm door knocking with the mayor. I got some people I'm door knocking with.
All right. Sure. Can they find that information? Yeah, they can find that on the social media sites and all that good stuff. Excellent.
Yes,
excellent. And all right, Howard, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, I'm going to start with @Blue. So you can find me on @Blue.
His link's right there.
My campaign website is www.friendsofhowardstevenson.com. So you can find me there. I also have a campaign Facebook page, and it is Howard Stevenson for Fishers. And then I'm also on Twitter. I think it's HL Stevenson #2, HL Stevenson 2. So you can find me there. Some of the events that I'm doing, I'll be out knocking on doors this weekend as well, of course. And we've had chats with the candidate at coffee shops. I'll be doing that on Saturday morning.
Excellent.
And let's see, I have a couple fundraisers that are still coming up. And this is one I'm excited about. We're going to solidify the date here in the next day or so. I think it's on maybe Saturday, August 9th or the following Saturday.
Okay.
I'm going to have a Divine 9 fundraiser in Fisher.
Come on.
So all of the fraternities and sororities that are part of the Divine 9 that live in Fishers, they are uniting to support Howard Stevenson. And I want them to take that word back to their respective fraternities and their families and their friends and their neighbors. So that's one event that I'm excited about.
Okay. Who'd you pledge?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't pledge.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you, my wife and I told you we met, I can't tell my whole story, but we met our first week of college and we dated in college. And Porsche, My dad may have shared this story with you guys at the trustee's office. Our oldest son was born when we were sophomores in college. So my best friend and college roommate is a medical doctor in Columbus, Ohio now. We're both from Fort Wayne. He pledged Omega Psi Phi. And I didn't have the money. I was trying to buy diapers and formula, and I couldn't use that to pledge. So I graduated from college in 3 years, not because I was so smart, because I had to take care of my son. So I got a whole lot of friends, and my wife wasn't able to pledge either because she was a mom in college. But the great thing is, 34 years later, we're still married, and our three sons are all college graduates. So we sacrificed that. Now, people say I can pledge grad chapter, but Dana, you were saying I got too much on my plate anyway, so I don't know.
Yeah, and see, I actually never stayed on campus. So I'm a non-traditional college student. So I didn't get my undergrad till I was 39 and my graduate when I was 43. And people say you can, but you know what, just acknowledging the Divine Nine. I tell Democrats all the time, y'all missing a huge, influential block of voters. Why are you not reaching out? And so I think the VP is helping that out. The Deltas are in my city this week. They doing their thing with their red and white. So the pink and greens are always running around. So all of them, everybody, the purple and gold, all of them. So y'all, I want to thank you so much for being my first guest after I returned from my whirlwind tour of Cologne, Germany. I'm still kind of hyped. And so thank you for matching that energy and bringing all of that wonderful information to our listeners about what you guys are wanting to do and how you want to improve the cities that you live in. Indiana's own Dana Black. I talked to Porsche Williams, who is running for Fort Wayne City Clerk. You can find her links everywhere. She told you, but her ActBlue link is right there. And of course, Howard Stevenson, who is running for Fisher City Council at large. Y'all, this is amazing. Now, I got to talk about something that's kind of nonpartisan. Y'all know I got one love. I got my politics is my labor of love, and then Trinity Haven is my love of labor. Okay. We are having our annual homecoming is coming up soon. I don't know if you saw. Make sure that I post the dates because it just slipped my mind because I am 53. But guys, unfortunately, because we have so many people like Todd Rokita and like the Republican supermajority in our state house, they have convinced parents of LGBTQ plus youth that they are disposable. They have convinced them that they are the scourge of the earth and that they can be thrown away. And so, unfortunately, youth homelessness in Indiana is way high, higher than it should be. And unfortunately, in the LGBTQ plus community, it is disproportionately high because some chicken parent decided it was okay to throw their 16, 17-year-old kid out. Oh, here it is. It's Broadway theme, September the 9th. That's it, September the 9th, something like that. Okay, but here's the deal. Most of the shelters in Indiana, especially in Indianapolis, have some kind of religious aspect to them. We don't hate on religion. The name of the joint is Trinity Haven from the Trinity Church. However, some of these places have certain requirements that these folks have to do in order to get the help that they need. That's not what we do at Trinity Haven. Trinity Haven is the only affirming residence for LGBTQ plus youth who are at risk of homelessness. Think about that. The only one in the entire state. Our state has over 6 million residents, and we only have one. And we have fundraisers so that we can care for these people, because that's what love looks like. Love says, I'm going to take care of somebody else's child because this chicken, whatever parent decided their child was disposable. No matter what the circumstances there are, when you have the baby, you heard from 2 parents today who are super proud of their children. 4 of the 5 we talked about are college graduates. 1 is a senior in high school. And if they are doing everything they can to be good parents to their children, help Trinity Haven be what these young folks need to get them to independent living. So I will send out the link. Please buy tickets to our fundraiser. It's a Broadway theme. You know how we Rainbow Warriors like to do? We like to get dressed up. We want to have themes and wear costumes. If you want to have a good time and support a good cause, buy the tickets. You'll see the link. I'll share the link on all of the places that you are listening to this podcast or watching this on YouTube. I'll make sure that I send the link. But Trinity Haven, nonpartisan, because it's a non-for-profit organization. Please understand they are very important. And guys, let's take care of our young people. They're gay or not, it don't matter. We're supposed to take care of them. And shame on those who toss them away and think that they don't have any value. All right, Indiana's own Dana Black. This has been fantastic. I got shows all the way up, and I got some special shows that are coming up for IDEA weekend. Oh, y'all gonna love it. We gonna be on site. We gonna do it down in French Lick. I'm telling you. All right, Indiana's own Dana Black. I will holler at y'all next week. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.